Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Zombicide Invaders. This is the Civilians Extra Kickstarter. So, if you backed the original Zombicide Invader campaign on Kickstarter, these were all the stretch goals that were unlocked, that were essentially, quote unquote free for backing early. So you can try and pick this up separately. Either you can find it with the base game, or you can find sometimes just the Kickstarter stuff separately. But I like going through all these, even though they're a little bit harder, a little bit more expensive to buy in the aftermarket. It's nice to show off because, hey, if you want a complete collection, you'll know whether it's worth putting out the extra money for this, as well as if there's a future campaign, you have a better idea of what's going to be in something like that. So now this is a very generic brown box. This is how CMON Games used to do all their extra stuff before they finally started getting around to like, hey, we're going to make a regular style top open box. These are called pizza boxes because they open from the front. Even when you get the regular games, you get ones that are very, get ones that are like this, even Invader. All the miniatures are in a box like this, but they have nice artwork, so it kind of looks like a chest, like that you're opening, versus just a plain brown box. So you're going to be like, oh, this is gross, I don't want this sitting in my collection. But this is what we get. So there's 2 layers of figures in here. There's a bunch of brand new survivors, which we have a stack of cards for, so we'll go over that, and all their abilities and everything. And then there's a bunch of new Xenos and Abominations, and we're going to start with those. And I'm just going to do it all in one video, so it might be a little bit longer video, so just heads up there. We'll also get a little civilian pack rule sheet, which will explain how all the new minions and abominations and all that stuff works, as well as their set of cards, so you can add them in as you want. Of course, now you can add all of them, you can add 1 or 2 of them, however you want. So the first thing we're going to look at, though, is we have, I'm going to zoom in on these guys a little bit. These are the workers, the same ones that would be in the base Invader set, which, if you want to know more about that, check out the link below. It goes to the either video 1 or 2, which goes over how to play and what Zombicide Invader is, and then the second video goes through all the different characters and Xenos that you're fighting. I'm not going to spend time going through all that in here. So yeah, these are 2 different new models, so that means if you had the base game and you had originally, I think there was 30 of them, there was, I think, 7 of 5 different types, 35 of them, you're going to get 8 more, 4 more of each of these different models, I believe it was. I believe that's what it was. Yep, 4 of each. You get another 8 of these. Just a little bit different variety. Plus, it gives you extras if you're playing longer games. You'll have some more different ones of these. So I don't have any extra cards to show with them. You'll also get 4 more of this other not worker. Now my brain forgot what these guys were called. They're the runner class. They're called hunters. So you get a different new model for the hunters. So you get another 4 of these, which is, again, fun because you get, not only you get more, but at least you're getting a very look. Because I could have just added an extra couple in there. And then you'll also get more of the tanks. So you get 4 more of these tank models. Yes, it's definitely fun getting more different variety, different stances. Are really cool. Alright, so then the first thing we're going to hop into is look at one of the new ones. Now we got this little fella here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to get 6 cards for him. So these, unlike the other ones, these don't have a difficulty of either hard or easy or hard. They're just the flingers. What do the flingers do? So again, we'll have new Xenos on here, and I'll explain how the new ones work. The flingers have 1 action, deal 1 damage, take 1 to destroy, provide 1 experience point. So fairly typical of all the rest of the different guys there. like the workers and why do I keep forgetting what they got? I want to say runners because I'm used to Zombicide language. The the other guys. So they're pretty easy, but they have a special rule. It says they share the same targeting priority level as workers. So like if you're shooting into a crowd, they're on the lowest level. But Flingers possess enhanced sense skills. They can trace line of sight one zone further into rooms. Remember, all Xenos ignore dark rules when tracing lines of sight, and Flingers attack whenever they activate with a line of sight to a zone of any survivor in range 0 to 2. They perform an attack on a targeted zone. If several zones are eligible, they choose their target according to priority order. So what that means is normally any of the Xenos have to get next to you to attack. So so it's always a thing you can kind of use. Hey, if I'm one space away, I'm probably fine because they have to spend one, unless it's the why do I keep blanking on what these things are called? I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna be good. The hunters. Because the hunters get 2 activations. So if you're one space away, the workers and tanks, you're fine. Or the abomination, because they can only move one space at a time or attack. If you're 2 spaces away, you're fine from the hunters unless you get that random extra activation. These guys though can attack up to 2 spaces away, and they can draw lines of sight that much farther. So then if they do see you, they will attack the zone with the most survivors. Then they'll attack the noisiest zone, and then they'll attack all eligible zones, have the same amount of survivors, and noise the players choose. So what that essentially means is, like, if he walks down, if this thing walks down like a T-shaped corridor, and then he can look left and look right, and 2 spaces away on his left side, there's 3 survivors. And then 2 spaces on the right, there's 1 survivor, but he has 5 noise tokens. Because he's been shooting his machine gun left and right or something. He's going to go after the guys with the most people first. He's going to attack the biggest group first. Because I always want to attack whoever they see first. So he's going to attack whoever has the most people in it. Now, if both had 3, then but only one group activating shot, so they had 1 extra noise token, they need to attack them. So it's pretty fun. So they've had other ones like this in some of the other Zombicide games. Ranged guys are always difficult, just because then you have to evade them even more. So those are fun, and we get I think we get 8 of those if I'm correct. Let me grab the container here. Yes, there are 8 of those. So it's kind of cool. Only the 1 sculpt though. So it's not a big downside, but it's what it is. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then our next one up is we have the Seeker Worker Spawn, which has 9 cards. And we're going to get 2 different miniatures for them with 4 of each. They're just slightly different. I wish they're a little bit more different. One has like a left kind of forward, one kind of has a right forward. These guys are compared to the workers. So they're a little bit beefier. So they're not as beefy as a tank, definitely, but you can kind of see they're almost like that transition. They're like the transition from a worker going up into maybe a hunter. Maybe it goes worker, seeker, then hunter, something like that. So the seekers have some special rules. They have 1 action, 1 damage, 1 point, 1 experience, same as the workers. Same priority as the workers. But they do not benefit from the extra activation cards. They follow the same priority, but they're not considered to be workers. All Seeker workers I'm sorry, they're called Seeker Workers, which is why they don't count the regular workers. I just call them Seekers. All Seeker Workers on the board get an extra activation each time a Seeker Xeno card is drawn. So example, at a blue level, a player draws their first Xeno card during a spawn step. It's a Seeker Worker, and 2 Seeker Workers are put on the board, according to the 2. Then the next Xenos draws another Seeker Worker card. The previous Seeker Workers get an extra activation before 2 more Seeker Workers are on the board. So, like, if Flingers are kind of annoying because they can hit at range, the Seekers are kind of annoying because they can gain extra activations constantly. And this could stack up if you have 3 spawn points. They could easily get multiple. It doesn't have to be on the same turn. So if, like, the first turn you draw 2, they're fine. But then, here the survivors go, they don't kill all of them. Then the next turn, then you draw another Seeker card. Then now every Seeker that's still on the board gets to activate. So these guys get to move a lot more often and do stuff a lot more often. But again, this could trigger that safety zone. Ooh, I only need to be 1 space away because that's all the more they can move. Except they could end up drawing that very easily. And that could cause you some trouble. Then we do also get 2 copies of the Mold Spawn 1 Seeker Worker. So that lets us spawn them extra. Alright, our next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our last new small Xeno. Is we have the Xenomorph spawns. These are like bat bird like creatures. And the Xenomorphs, like all the rest of the guys here, one action, 1 damage. They deal 1 damage, they take 1 damage, 1 experience point. And they say the same priority target as a worker. So it's in all 3 of these new guys, if they're in the same zone as everybody, it's abominations and tanks have to be shot first, then the hunters, then anybody else. So Xenomorphs cannot be eliminated by melee actions, so that's going to make them a little bit harder. Xenomorphs move up to 3 zones per activation each of their destination zone. Determine their destination zone before moving them. They move there and don't change the course if a new target appears on the way. And they still only get 1 activation, whether moving or attacking. So what that means is they're going to try, if they can't see someone, they're going to, if they see someone down a hallway, they're going to try and move towards that guy. They get 3 moves, which makes this bad because for the survivors, because if they get up next to them, you can't melee them. So you have to then spend an action to move away, unless you have a character that has some way of avoiding friendly fire, because then they can shoot into the crowd at you, and that's fine. But if they don't, like someone has a sniper, for example, they could try and snipe that guy away from you before you move. But if not, then you have to worry about, like, you have to spend extra action to move, which, if that guy's in your space, it's 2 actions. That's if there's only 1 there. So they could be very hard to escape from since you can't melee them. And lots of ranged weapons don't hit at 0 range. So that could be, these guys could be kind of a pain. But what it means by they don't change their action is, so it's saying that if you pick a space down the end of the corridor, and since most things can only move 1 space except for, like the hunters, which move 2 spaces. So if they're moving 3 spaces and they're going, and like after their second space, they look down the hallway and immediately around the corner, there's another guy. It doesn't matter if the first one they saw is still 5 spaces away. They're still going to go out 1 extra space. They're not going to all of a sudden turn and go to the guy to their left. So they're going to keep going straight down regardless. Alright, so those are our new small guys. Then we have some big old abominations. And we're going to get, I think, 8 of those guys as well. So you have 8 of each. So it's kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on, though. So like these newer guys, they only get 8 of each, and if they have a spawn of 8, then if you draw another one of their cards, they're not going to spawn more unless you've defeated any. So if you drew 2 of them in a row, like at the red level, or even maybe at the 6th level, they're going to start to run out. Alright, we have some big guys. We are going to start with this disgusting monster here. This is Babyface. So this abomination is going to get 4 cards. So all the abominations are going to be just like the spore abomination in the Invaders base game. When you get them, they're going to say all abominations out of the board gain 1 extra activation. And then if you have Babyface abomination, spawn it. If you don't, nothing happens. And that's how all of these work. So basically, if you just play the base one, you only have 1 abomination. If you pick this up, you're going to have several. Now, you could include all these in your deck. And then that way you might have several more abominations. You could also choose to be like, hey, the base game only had 4 abomination cards. I'm only going to play with 4, but you could have 4 different abominations out to make the game, instead of the same one. And then just giving that guy multiple actions, you can end up spawning 4 different ones, or how many you want to do. Alright, so the abominations all follow the same rule as regular abominations. They have 1 action. They take 3 damage to destroy. They deal 3 damage and they provide 5 experience. This is going to go for all the abominations we're going to talk about. A damage 3 weapons required to eliminate them. Concentrated attacks leading to 3 damage or more, as well as game effects eliminating everything, such as Hellfire or Seismic Blast, which is one of the expansions, can also kill it. So yeah, they're all going to be the same thing there. They just each have a special ability beyond that. Which is nice, though, that they kept all their health the same, kind of the same thing with the regular Xenos. So you're not trying to remember, oh, this one had 2 health, this one has 7 health, type of thing. So that's really cool. So what does Babyface do? It says, whenever the Babyface abomination is eliminated, all Xenos on the board immediately get an extra activation. So, like, the Spore one is going to keep making them Spore molds, which is going to try and win the game that way. This one is just going to make all other abominations mad and get to act again. You can see he has, like, some guts hanging out down here. Kind of flipping around. Here's a big old butt. Because everyone wanted to see the giant alien butt. So that's Babyface. Yeah, nothing like extra super hard, but if you're playing with multiple other abominations, this one can definitely, because you're going to want to get rid of it, so you have to deal with it, but it's going to, potentially hurt you in that sense. Alright, so we have 4 copies of the Mother-in-Law. Now, this one's cool. This one's like all the rest of them kind of look like they're like it started with the worker and they kind of evolved up into bigger, different versions. You can see Babyface is maybe like a smaller version or like a not quite evolved version of the Spore. This guy's completely different. He's probably a she rather, because it's a mother-in-law. It's an armor-plated bug-type monster. Some scythe arms, bladed arms, got that tongue with a knife sticking on it. Looks like it has yellow armor plating, which is kind of cool. Plus some stuff sticking out of the tail. So the Mother-in-Law says, every time Mother-in-Law Abomination Zone is targeted by a ranged attack, and the Mother-in-Law isn't eliminated by it, interrupt Survivor phase. Immediately perform an extra activation with the Mother-in-Law Abomination, then resume the Survivor's phase. This game effect happens several times during the Survivor's phase. So if you shoot at this abomination and you do not kill it, it gets to move towards you and try and kill you. So if it's 3-4 spaces away, that could be very bad for you if you keep missing a bunch. And yeah, if you're using like Hellfire, it's probably gonna hit. Hellfire's immediate, does 3 damage. But you're using concentrated attack, and you're trying to roll for that 3, and you miss, it's going to get one step closer to you. So if it gets too many steps closer, your gun might not work anymore. Could be bad for you. Or if you draw another Abomination card, and then it gets to activate again. So stuff like that can definitely happen. Alright, our next Abomination, we have 4 copies of that card as well, is the Shadow Abomination. This is another armor-plated, kind of like, bug-looking monster. Probably very good homage to, like, the aliens. The Xenomorphs, of course. Tail, kind of like elongated head. It has 4 different arms on there, plus a spiked tail. The back things are definitely alien-esque. So the Shadow Abomination shares the same targeting priority level as Hunters. So not only is it a big giant guy, but it can't be hit as often. You have to hit the tanks and the other Abominations first. The Shadow Abomination can only be eliminated with a melee action or an effect eliminating all actors in the zone, Hellfire or Seismic Blast. This guy you have to hit physically. You can't even shoot him, and if you so it's not so bad with the targeting priority, just because it's more for shooting anyhow. But yeah, that's definitely a pain that you have to get next to him. Therefore, you need to take him out, or he's going to activate on his turn, and hurt you some bad. So definitely these guys make the game more challenging. All right, we have 2 more to go. Oh, I knocked all of my stuff out of the way. I'm such a klutz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 cards for the Stomper Abomination. There's that big feller. That's the only thing I do somewhat dislike about some of the stuff they do to Zombicide is I don't like it. All the rules for the characters are in the book. Some of the later ones, they started putting the special abilities of the character on the card instead of just this. Which I would rather have to try and remember this and then not have to look in a book or pull a little book for all that. So, I mean, me personally, I'll probably do is create a little, like, some sort of little cheat sheet or extra card to just put with the game what each of these guys do. But, that's how they live and learn. So this guy has some big hulking bladed arms. Big open mouth. So this is kind of, I guess, like if the, if instead of getting fat and tentacly, they became more armor plated. What does the Stomper do? The Stomper performs a stomp whenever it is in range of 0 to 2 in its destination zone at the end of the phase. No SI is required. All survivors in the zone fall to the ground. Lay down their miniature. They must spend the next action to get up. Machines are not affected. That's actually pretty interesting and crazy effect. So once he gets within anywhere between 0 to 2 spaces, at the end of the entire Xeno phase, so after everyone's went, he stomps down and knocks everyone down. So at least he doesn't do it right after he moves, or he doesn't do it at the beginning of the phase. But yeah, then everyone has to then spend one action just to get back up. So yeah, there's already losing one action every turn. Not good. Plus, if this guy's that close to you, it's just going to make it that much harder if you don't kill him. Then you're going to have to try and run. Make sure you can get away. Yeah, but fun. I love little extra effects like that. Then the last big monster abomination is the Widowmaker. Who I like this. Oh, it's awesome. It's on a little stand there. So the Widowmaker is. Again, these are very spidery like. It's got like a little twin tail there, which is kind of cool. But it's also neat. It's on this stand, which I just knocked it off of. Probably because there's a little notch in there for this, so it sits on the one direction. I just might not have had it on there the correct exact angle. I probably just sort of laid it on there. There we go. That's because it won't normally stand by itself. Alright, so what's the Widowmaker do to us? The Widowmaker moves up to 2 zones per activation to reach its destination. Determine its zone before it moves. It moves to get there and doesn't change course if a new target appears along the way. The Abomination still gets 1 action per activation, either moving or attacking. So, kind of like the moths, it gets to move multiple spaces in a turn, so it just gets places closer. It says the Wiggle Abomination attacks whenever it when it activates within a line of sight of 1 to 2, or 0 to 1, so it gets 1 range. Then it performs a target every zone with any survivor at range 0 to 1 within line of sight. Allocate each attack as you see fit. That's what makes this guy dangerous. So whenever it activates within a line of sight to a zone, it targets every zone with any survivor at that range. So it can run up and it can hit multiple zones at the same time. So it could potentially attack 2-3 zones if it's an open enough area. So that's going to make this guy a lot more deadly as well, especially since it can hit 1 extra space away, and it gets to move 2 spaces away. So to be fairly safe from it, you'd have to be at least 3 spaces away, because it can spend... it only gets 1 move, right? But if you want to be safe, just in case you drew an extra activation, you drew a second Abomination card in that same turn, because if it moves 2 spaces, and then it can attack 1 space away, so it can basically get 3 if it gets a second activation. That could make it very bad. Alright, so that was our main abominations, but we do have some special ones. So we're going to pop both of them up at the same time. So we have 2 little new bots. We have the Buddy Bot, which is the guy on this side. So this, if you watch the original Invaders box, I said they do Kickstarter's a lot of homage stuff. This is the homage to Claptrap from Borderlands video game. It's like the little box, hover robot. And then we also have a new Sentry Gun, who's the Iris Sentry Gun, who is an homage to Portal. Some of the Sentry Guns in the Portal video game. So that's kind of cool that they gave some of those. So now these guys can replace your base set ones if you'd like them to. They're bots in prototype or Sentry Gun prototype. So the Buddy Bot here has, for his bot command, has range of 1 to 3, and then it has special, and 1 to 3 damage. And the same thing with the Sentry Gun. Ranged 1 to 3, 0, 0. Or, sorry, special, 1 to 3. So, what are their actual special things? So, the Sentry Gun can say, ranged action, choose up to 3 Xenos, suffer 1 damage. 1 Xeno suffers 3 damage. No need to roll, follow targeting priority. ISIS does not get a machine activation token, ignores Dark Zone, and can fire from exterior zones. Note, a survivor standing in the zone may control it. So these guys are really powerful. And then the Buddy Bot will have the same basic thing, is it can shoot either 3 things, or it can shoot, do basically a concentrated attack and do 1 damage, which means it can kill abominations. And you don't have to roll for them like you do with the other guys. You have to still perform a roll attack. These guys just straight up do the damage. And it says Buddy Bot may freely move alongside his controlling survivor if they don't use any movement skills. like movement skills like charge or jump or something like that. You know, something that lets them move extra spaces. He can fall like they move one space at a time. Yes, that's actually pretty cool. We get these two different guys. You can swap them in. They're immensely powerful. So that's kind of cool. And you could always, do whatever you do other stuff with them. But what also makes them kind of terrifying is they get abomination cards. So we have 4 for Buddybot and 4 for the ISIS gun. And I like this because I think it also plays on the fact of, in the video games, both of these, the Portal and Borderlands, things that are your friends in one time can be your enemies in the next. So the Buddybot and this tab, they have Rogue Machine Abominations. So they are both abominations and a machine or bot respectively. These machines cannot be used as starting bots and sentry guns of a mission. They only enter the game when their respective Xeno card spawns them. So that's what makes them different, is they, although like I said, if your game, you want to have them start to spawn and only have them just be your allies, you can do that. Nothing's stopping you. But per game rules, what you do is if they get spawned as an abomination, then they're on the board. And it says, during the Xeno phase, they're activated as abominations. During the Survivor phase, they can be activated as machines by survivors, corresponding skill or tokens. So basically what that means is, once they spawn out, they're, on the enemy's turn, they're trying to kill you. Then on your turn, you can utilize them, like basically hack into them, to use them to kill the enemies. Having prototype keyword, these machines can fire from exterior zones and ignore dark zone rules. So, as an abomination, the Buddybot attacks whenever it activates a line of sight with any survivor 1 to 3. And then it performs an attack dealing 3 damage to survivors in a targeted zone, distributed as you see fit. Several zones are eligible. Who chooses to target? Most survivors no exist, and then players can choose. The Buddybot cannot attack survivors in its own zone. So that's the thing there. If you run up and you want to have him follow you, as long as you stay in the same zone, he won't attack you. But if you start getting away, he will shoot at anybody, and he does 3 damage. So like most abominations just do straight 3 damage anyhow. But if you have 3 survivors in there, you can choose to have each one take 1 damage instead. And split that damage up. Or if he's in the Xenos, it's a 3 damage in the 3 range. But he also cannot attack Xenos in his space, because they have to go 1 to 3 spaces away. Then the sentry gun is going to follow a lot of the same rules. So it shoots a thing range of 1 to 3, dealing 3 damage. Cannot attack survivors in his own zone. As an abomination, the iris never moves. However, if it has no survivors to attack, it gets an extra activation and it moves 3 zones to reach its destination zone. To determine its zone before moving, it moves there. It doesn't change the course of a new target is there. As a sentry gun can be controlled. So because this sentry gun can pop out legs, if it doesn't have anything to kill as an abomination turn, on the Xenos turn, it will actually move and try and get closer to guys to kill them. It won't just sit in one spot and wait for someone to walk by. So it makes them a lot more deadly. Alright, so that's what we have for all the Xenos. I did say originally we were going to do this as one video. These guys took a little bit longer than I thought they were going to be. And there's a lot of survivors. So I think we'll break this up into 2 parts. So we'll end part 1 here, just the Xenos. And the bots here, and then we'll do part 2 when we'll hop into all the survivors, because there is quite a few of them. Alright, we will see you guys then. Bye.